there was an opportunity to lead the learning at Alteryx and jumped right in, and here I am today.
Amazing.
We're going to focus today on 3 tools that are in the transpose palette. They also happen to, in my personal copy of Alteryx, they reside on my favorites tool because these are tools that I am constantly using. You've got tons of data. We all work with tons of data. Driving meaning from that data typically is challenging, right? So we have to be able to control how our data appear and what we're actually summarizing. And these 3 tools help us do that. Summarize tool, probably one of my top used tools in Alteryx. And I'll say this as a former huge fan of pivot tables in Excel. Summarize is like my little quick pivot table. It's my quick understand what's going on in the data tool. It helps you review your information. So something as simple as, let me see inconsistencies in the way things are named in a particular field. Or let me see if I add everything up grouped by this, if I get the numbers that I expect. Or even spatial processes, lots of mathematical calculations, statistical calculations, and so on. It makes all of those tasks much easier to achieve. Transpose and crosstab tools actually change the shape of our data. So I think of summarize tool as taking this large data amount and pressing it down into a smaller amount. Transpose takes a data set that looks like this and turns it like this to vertical. And then crosstab takes that vertical data set and turns it back horizontal. They're opposite of each other.
Yeah.
And they help us pivot our data around.
Yeah, this was our recent project with Texas Education Agency. So they showed us how to do this on Power BI. So for transpose, they were explaining that this is the one that take your wide data to the long data, and the other one is from long to wide. So I learned how to unpivot my columns using Power BI transform tools. And then, yeah, but I didn't use them on Alteryx. I used summarize, but not transpose and crosstab.
Okay, so they're very similar. Transpose is very similar to pivoting, unpivoting in Power Query, only I think it's a little bit more intuitive, easier to use. That's my own personal opinion. I prefer Alteryx to Power Query. Wonderful. So you're familiar with the concept. So now it's just about learning the tools. So we're going to, in today's session, explore these different summary processes. We'll do summaries on numeric and string fields just to get a feeling of what they all can do. You can also summarize spatial data. We won't be working with that today. We'll understand the difference between transpose and crosstab, which you already understand. So it's transpose is the unpivot and crosstab is the pivot. We'll be able to configure all of these tools and talk about these ways to pivot our data, pivot, unpivot, get it in the shape that we need it to be. Before we start, there is a worksheet tool scavenger hunt PowerPoint that you should have received in your sample files.
Mm-hmm. So I downloaded the class file, right?
Yep.
So it's on the other laptop. So I'm going to go to my other laptop and.
Great.
So.
And I'm just going to ask you to look at this PowerPoint and fill in the answers, and then we'll talk about them.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I don't remember how I said it. I've been working on so many different things that, and then this flu and sore throat hit me last couple of days, and I'm battling
no.
and, 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 I think I'm just gonna go ahead and download the class files one more time
Yeah, and then you'll have them handy.
because I don't remember. So I will go to my learning marketplace one more time. But if they cancel the class here, I don't know if the class files will be still available for me to
The
download it.
class file should still be available. What we did was we had to recreate the class to have the platform be Teams instead of Saba.
But for future trainings, I need to learn how to use the classroom tool, right?
Yes. So that is easy, but the thing is, I don't know if you can sign in on two separate
Yeah,
computers.
it did let me. So
Oh,
I checked.
excellent.
I checked. So the classroom opened on both laptops. So I was gonna do that, but it's a different platform. So I didn't see the names of the participants. So I didn't actually check if both of my names are showing up. Uh, and also, there is nothing like I can test before the class starts if it's working or not.
I mean, we can set up time to test it, definitely, but there's nothing like by default to test on your own, correct?
So I will, so it's called, do you want me to share screen while I'm doing this?
No, no, just do this on your
Okay,
own, and when you're done, let me know.
okay. So it's just one page PowerPoint, right? Task and your answer. Okay. Okay, so your answer, first one is summarize. And then which tool pivots the data from vertical to horizontal? So from vertical to horizontal, from long to wide, I feel like it should be the crosstab, right?
Mhm.
Um, but there is questions from other tools as well, right? For example, for the last task, which tool will drop any columns that are not selected as either key columns or data columns from the data stream? I know I can do this with select button.
You can, but there is also one of the transformational tools that can do this.
Okay, so what you're saying is which one will also allow you to choose the columns that you want? Is that okay? I think both of them, I think transpose allows you to choose the columns, right?
In a way, they both do.
Okay, so am I gonna put both transpose and cross tab on the last one?
Yeah, let's discuss these.
Okay.
All right, so let me bring up my slide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so which tool can perform a host of summary calculations, including summing, min, max, grouping, and more?
Summarize.
Summarize, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, which tool will produce this result? I heard you say that one, the
Mm-hmm.
wide to tall, and then the one below,
It's cross tab.
crosstab, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So which tool pivots the data from a vertical to a horizontal layout?
Which is cross tab again, right?
Crosstab, yep. And it can also be the summarize tool when you think about it. Summarize, you're taking a longer set and you're summarizing it out potentially across several different calculations.
Okay.
So not only one answer there. What is the name of the tool and the function that can combine two string columns into a single string column?
I don't know what this is like a concatenation, but
Yeah, it's a concatenation.
so but I don't know if there's a specific tool on Alteryx for this.
So the summarize tool can actually concatenate.
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah. But also, to be honest, the crosstab tool concatenates as well.
Mhm.
And there is a way to concatenate just, across several different columns with the formula tool, or across several rows with the multi-row formula tool. So again, lots of options. We're focusing just on the orange tools today.
Mhm.
And then finally, which tool will drop any columns that are not selected as either key columns or data columns. Now, the keywords there are key and data columns.
I think this one is the transpose and crosstab, because when you're configuring them, it has two windows, right? So you choose which
Yep.
one is the key column, which one is the.
Yes, so this is a trick question. The crosstab doesn't refer to things as key columns or data columns.
Mhm.
I believe it refers to them as column headers and value columns. So it's a bit of a trick question there, just to see if you're catching all the words. Awesome, great job with that. So I'll call that 100%. And pardon me, lots of occasions we need to get data into a different form, and we do this with these different tools. So when we're thinking of Excel, which by your nodding before, I'm assuming you have good familiarity with Excel. Somewhat. Okay.
Mhm.
So pivot table, vertical to horizontal, crosstab when you want multiple column headings on different values.
Mhm.
Or if I am taking one of the fields and putting it across in the column headers, right? But
Mhm.
summarize also gives us a pivot table of vertical to horizontal. Horizontal to vertical, always transpose. That picks apart, that unpivots our data. And then aggregating and summarizing our data, that's in the name itself, the summarize tool.
Mhm.
We're going to start with the summarize tool. So if I'm thinking in Excel and I want to do things like sum, average, min, max, count, pardon me. I
Bless you.
do apologize, Fatma. I am
No.
having just a horrifically bad allergy day.
I'm glad
So
it's allergies, because I think COVID is back for somehow, and then flu is back. My husband came back from work. He got positive. I did
oh
the
no,
testing, but I was negative, but I'm suffering through sore throat and flu and fever. So,
oh goodness.
yeah.
Yeah, so I will apologize for the sneezing.
Please don't. You don't need to.
Okay. So if we're working in Excel, and let's say I want that total at the bottom
Mhm.
of all the base pay, all the other pay, all the bonuses, what feature do I use?
You want the sum of base pay, uh,
Yep.
other pay, and bonus pay, just the
Yeah,
final amount, or you want to add all the sets?
all the different columns together, one at a time, pardon.
Okay, so
So
something
those,
like E2 plus F2 plus G2.
yeah, well, not yet. We could do that, but I'm talking like add all of column E, all of column F. How do we get to those bolded numbers at the bottom?
Or sum parentheses E2 semicolon, or what is it called?
Yep,
Yeah, to
through
E2
the
max.
bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, or equals average, equals max, equals min, equals count.
Mhm.
And the auto sum button does that for us, the sigma. It's the same symbol in Alteryx, which is nice and convenient. So the way this works, and you've seen this in a workflow, you choose any field that you want to add some kind of a summary on. So just select it, or multiple fields. You can use your control key to select multiple fields at the top. Then you'll click the add button, and then the method that you want to use. So if we want to group all similar items together, we use this group by.
Mhm.
If we want to perform something like a sum account, we choose the correct calculation. If you want to rename the output field, you may. Very often, Alteryx will just rename it with the prefix of the function use. So sum underscore sales,
Mhm.
average underscore profit. Summarize is one of those Alteryx tools that is case sensitive. So very often you'll see it used in conjunction with a data cleansing tool ahead
Mhm.
or a formula tool that makes sure that a whole field that you want to summarize on using in that group by is actually listed as the same case. So upper, lower, title, whatever it is, it's got to be similar or things won't be grouped together. So if we take a look at, goodness, I can't get my table to show, at this table. So we have a couple of different employees listed by job code, their admissions date, and their bonus. If I'm grouping first by job code and then how many employees are in each job code, how many job codes do I have here? Take a look at the data.
We have 4 different job codes, so we're
Four
gonna get
different job codes.
4 lines, and then
Perfect.
on those 4 lines, the numbers will show up as 2, 3, 1, 1.
Yep, exactly right. So it's just counting the number of records in each of those different job codes. Perfect. If we're grouping by admission date and we're adding the bonus, it's doing the same thing. How many different unique admission dates do we have? And then it's going to add the bonuses. So we've got 3 unique admission dates, total bonuses across those admission dates. You could also group by job code and admission date, and then it would break it down even further.
Yep.
Questions?
I saw some joins they were using, like at least the boss who left me, he was using some joins combining 2 summarize tools to create a bigger table.
Absolutely. Depending on what you are trying to do, that may be exactly what you need to do.
Mhm.
So you should have a file called Transforming Data Learner.
Okay. So it's under workflows,
Yep.
transforming data learners. Okay, I found it.
Great. And go ahead through that and let me know if you have questions.
So the directions are on the workflow. It's like a weekly
Directions are
challenge.
right in the workflow. Yes. Let
Okay.
me bring mine up.
Mhm.
Oh, I've got to find, I have to find mine.
Is this the case, for example, for other courses that I registered? Am I like the only student these days who sign up for those courses?
Not all of them, some of them,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I
So
love it because it's one-on-one, but I am scared that they might just cancel them because it's not enough students. So
not right now, no. Don't worry about that. Honestly, I'll give you a little insight. The leadership team and I are just so excited that an educational system is
yeah.
investing in learning our program, that if you sign up for a class, that class is going to happen unless we have some instructor disaster and nobody's available. That's the only reason I would cancel a class.
Mhm. Awesome. And you guys did such a great job, as a former teacher who has taught math for the last 15 years, like how you structured everything. I was just at a boot camp last 3 days for SQL with a private company. All they were doing was like lecture, lecture, lecture. And then as an adult, you just lose yourself after certain hours. But the way you guys design it, I know I don't have enough experience. It has been only 30 minutes, but I can just tell you that how it is like little bit lecture, put your hands on the dirt, it's beautifully designed.
Thank you so much. I agree. I'm also biased.
Let me know if it helps you better, if I can share my screen, and then when I'm going through this, I just show you. So if it saves time for us,
We can do that, sure.
let me try.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Let
I'm
me,
gonna share my screen from this
yeah,
lab.
give me a second to stop sharing.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, perfect. I can see your screen.
Okay, so so I think, is there a way I can put this results table lower? No, I don't. Okay. Which team is the youngest fantasy team and what is the average age of their players? So I group by fantasy team and I am asking for the first question is what's the average age? So from the age, I am going to choose the average option for question one. Let me run this to see what happens. When I run this, yeah, it's showing me some average ages for each fantasy team, right?
Right.
And then I think that answers question one, unless you want me to, do some formatting for average age and just give you the whole number. But is
Well,
it
we want to know which one is the youngest. So we would
okay?
want to rearrange these numbers so that we see the youngest, so that the youngest pops up. Basically, I want you to find the youngest now within that grouping.
So if I sort them, I think the youngest is maybe this year 25 years old.
Yep.
Okay. I think that answers question one. For question two, which fantasy team has the lowest average hidden rank? Shall I build another workflow or shall I just change my configuration?
Build another stream off of the original data.
Okay, so let's get another summarization here. And then again, I want to group by fantasy team and then lowest average hitter. So hitter, which one is the column? Is it hitter rank or
Hitter rank. Yep.
hitter rank? And then I want to get the minimum of hitter rank.
Well, we want the average first.
Oh, we want the average first because
Yep.
let me, English is my second language, so therefore I might be struggling to interpret the sentences.
Oh, no, that's okay. What is your first language?
Turkish. I'm original from Turkey.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I have been to school in Turkey all the way to the end of college. So I was 23 years old when I moved to United States. Okay, so I group them by team, and then I find their. Let me run this for now. So I got the average hidden rank, but we want the lowest one again. So should I do it sort tool, or I don't know if there's a way to, there's another way to do this besides the sort tool?
You could summarize and just find the minimum within that list.
Oh,
So the
so,
sort tool perfectly works, but if I just want the lowest and I want to isolate one, I'll show you a little trick here. If you pop another summarize tool after the summarize tool,
okay.
and then you do the minimum on that average hitter rank without a grouping level,
So click on average hidden rank and then choose minimum here and
yep.
then run. This is beautiful. I would never think about adding another one. And it gives me the minimum one is 60.9.
Right, now we want to figure out which team has that lowest average hitter rank. So how would we bring back the team name?
Very good. Very good challenge. Let me think. Um, okay. Do I want to join them?
Yep.
Okay. So if I join, but for join, does it take input from the other summarization tool?
It can.
Okay. and then match the minimum average and then average and run. Let me look at the join. Yeah, it's the bet flippers.
Perfect. So
Oh,
there you go. There's a join after your summarize and exactly a use case of why we would use that.
okay, beautiful. Thank you. See, even
You're welcome.
the exercises are created so like beautifully for this course. I like it.
Thank you. I will pass that feedback on to my content
Yeah.
developers.
So do I go to the next box?
Yep.
Which department has the highest average base salaries? Department has the highest average base salaries. So I think again I need to get the average salary first. So I'm gonna group them by department. And then I'm going to calculate the average of base salary for each. It doesn't allow me to find the average. Numeric average. Average ignores zeros and average. I think I'm just going to choose the normal average. And then now I have the departments and their average base salary, right? But
Yep.
I want to get the highest one. Technically, I want the sales department with 220K. So I think I'm going to get this one again. And then I'm just going to get this one. And I want the maximum of this one, just like the other one, right? And then,
Yep.
and then I just need to bring what is the department. So I cannot think anything different, but I'm going to use the same strategy we used earlier. So I want to join them using their average base salary. Then the join button in the middle will tell me that it's the sales department. Would you handle this question any differently? Or the question?
No, I mean, this works very well. I like the summarize tools. They're fast. What I've also done is sort and then select, sample or select records.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same number of tools. So it's just what am I feeling that day and how I, approach the problem. So you've got a sort on your first row, the Q1 in the summarize. If I just wanted to isolate that first record, I could again do a summarize and have a first, or I would most likely use a sample where n equals 1 and first n values.
Let's do this. Do you want me
Yeah,
to start from?
it
Yeah.
literally depends on my mood.
So let me just because I already used this strategy, I want to just learn the other one you were saying. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna do.
so drop after that sort tool in your first, if you go back to that summarize box, the first one that we did, go ahead and drop a sample tool after that sort tool. Go to the left. Sorry, wrong place. The first block of work that we did with the baseball players.
Okay, here. So
Yep.
I sort so I sorted them already here.
Yeah. So now add a sample tool after that sort.
And then first
Perfect.
one maybe if I'm
Yep.
looking for.
And then you'll see it just isolates the first row.
Yeah, maybe this.
It's not
Yes.
better or worse than the other way. It's just which way do you feel like solving it?
Okay. So I'm going to go to the question, the second box again. Present a table by department with all employees' names in a single row and the sum of their salaries. I may not know how to do this. The table by department with all employees' name in a single row. So it's going to be a concatenation, I think. And then some of their salaries. Let me see. So I need the summarize button. And then I want to group by department. Group by department. And then I want employees' names to be string concatenate and some of their salaries. Base pay, is that the salary column? And then I want to sum. Let me check what this one produces. Marketing department, all employees are here, and some of their base pay. Do you want to check it later, or you want to go through this now? The second question on the second box?
No, this is good. Do you have questions on this?
No, I think, is that what they were asking, right? I understood it right?
Present a table by department, yep, in a single row and the sum of all of their salaries. Yep.
Okay.
So it's concatenating the text. And by the way, you can put in whatever you want to separate the text out. It doesn't have to be a comma. So it could be a semicolon, a colon. If you click back on that middle box there, where it says concat employee name, there you go. And if you look at the bottom, see how it says start separator end? You could put in a different character for the separator if you wanted a hyphen or a semicolon, a period, a space, whatever separator you want to use, you can have that in there.
Wonderful. Would it be possible to order the employees like 1 is Nancy, 2 is Bob Hill, 3 is Ruth Owen? Does it do that?
Not with this technique. Concatenating will not automatically add a number. So what you would need to do is add that number in before we got here, right? So within each marketing department, I would actually use a tile tool to do that.
What is that? So right after the input data?
Yeah, so let me bring you through that process. Let's sort this data first. So we're going to create a brand new work stream. This is a great question and something that you may very well need to do, right? Sort your data, assign numbers to people, and have that appear within the list. So go ahead and right after that input data tool, pop a sort in, and then let's do a sort by department, and then you pick the next sorting level you want to use.
Departments will be ascending, right?
Yeah, sure. And then what sorting level do you want next?
Employee name.
Great. Okay, so we're giving it the alphabetical order now. So for the first person listed in marketing, I want them to have a 1, the second person have a 2, and so on and so forth. There are a whole lot of ways to do this. I'm going to show you the way that I think is the easiest. And it's a preparation tool called Tile. Have you used Tile before?
No, never heard of it.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so if you go into preparation, there we go, Tile tool, perfect. So the Tile tool assigns numbers. It's kind of like the record ID tool plus more. We're going to use what's called the tiling method of unique. So if you drop down under tile method, it says smart tile. Then it's going to try to grouping. You can also say equal sum on a value or equal records. We want unique value. So basically, finance will be department 1, and then we'll number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within that. HR will be department 2. We'll number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within that. We're going to tell Alteryx what the unique column is, kind of where to start these renumberings, and that should be department. We'll see if I get this correct. I sometimes reverse unique column and the group by column.
Did it already? Yeah, tile
Yep.
sequence number. Yeah, it did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 people for finance. And then for HR, it starts over again from number 1.
Yep. So
Okay.
now you need a formula tool to add that tile sequence number before the employee name.
So do I drop it before summarization?
Yep.
Okay. Now, so new column, right?
Oh, we could just modify the employee name column. Since we're using that in the summarize tool, I just modify that.
Okay.
There we go.
And then,
So this is a simple text concatenation. Yep. Plus. And then if you want like a space or not a space, whatever you'd like. Okay. So the problem here is that tile sequence number is a number. So we have to embed the toString function around that.
I'm gonna erase its head and then open parentheses. So we want to convert tile sequence number to string, and then we want to combine it with employee name.
Yep.
And I run this. Now when we look at the output, let's check. Yeah. Oh, perfect.
So now if you look at the summarize, you should see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we fixed that employee name column to now have the data that you need in it.
Beautiful. Oh my God, Esther, you're so expert on all this stuff and I like it.
Oh, your questions are amazing, Fatma. Thank you.
I can just spend my rest of year with you just learning.
We'll make sure that happens.
I mean, you're the best. I don't know how many instructors do they have with the learning marketplace.
We have a bunch. Yeah, I hire people who are even better than I am. So
no, I don't think so. You're the best.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so there we go. So now we've used the summarize. We're going to come back to this exercise.
Okay. Let me stop sharing.
Great. Oh, goodness. And I always lose my presentations. Sorry, this will take me a moment to get my file back. I don't know why it keeps doing this.
Take your time.
All right. I think I need to clear my cache in Teams somehow, and I haven't learned how to do that.
You are also required to use Teams instead of Zoom.
We use Teams, yes, instead of Zoom. When
I was a high school math teacher during the year 2020, I did all my teachings using Zoom. And, and now they canceled the agreement with Zoom and we are kind of forced to use Teams. But since we're so comfortable with Zoom, it just gets harder to adjust yourself to Teams.
Okay. And agree. I was on Zoom. My kids were on Zoom for their school. Yeah. Teams is different. It's got good features that I like. It's got features that I don't like as much as Zoom. And my feeling is as long as you're not asking me to use WebEx, I'm gonna go with whatever you want.
Yes, I also did use WebEx because I also teach part-time classes for our local community college here. And they made us teach through WebEx. It was the hardest. I agree with you.
Yeah. That is my least favorite, but this one I like. All right, so transpose tool next. Transpose tool takes our horizontal data and flips it to vertical. Anything that you tick off as a key column behaves as fields that it's ungrouping on, basically unpivoting on. And data columns are fields that are chosen to pivot into a single field. So that's what helps us switch our data around. Sorry, and the actual icon, if you look at it, it shows from horizontal to vertical. It looks like chocolate bars to me. So I take my chocolate bar and it's laying this way and I flip it to this way before I eat it. I'm all about food. So here here we have data. Now, this is very common that when we're pulling data from whatever source we're pulling it from, different columns for dates or years or summaries that really shouldn't be out in separate columns. There should be a column that says year, and then a column that has the data associated with that year, because that's the way we can really work with that data and analyze it. So to truly do an analysis on salary, this needs to be vertical. So we use the transpose tool, and we take the employee name and we repeat it for however many different columns we have in our data columns. So these will flip and the values will flip, and then we'll repeat the names down. And that's what a transpose table looks like. We then strip the word salary out or leave it in. And we would be able to show, for example, in a graph, salary growth, because it's all in the same fields. Let's go back to that workflow. And again, you can share your screen with me and we'll talk through and I'll answer your further questions. Okay. And let's work with the transpose and the transpose and summarize tools.
So the first question is for transpose, they start easy, right? And then they get advanced, hopefully, because I didn't use transpose before, so not
gotcha.
the
Yep, so it starts easier and then it gets more advanced.
So here we have this data. So yeah, we have the record ID, P1 start, P1 end, P2 start, P2 end. Pivot the table in order to output one column with P1 and P2 and another column with dates. So when they say P1 and P2, is it start and end or?
So it should be that P1, one column should have P1 start, P1 end, P2 start, P2 end, all in one column.
Okay, so I feel like when I'm configuring this, I'm going to tell them that record ID will be key column, which means that don't do anything with this column, right?
Right.
And then I want to, so it automatically selects the other four with me.
Yes, so what's going to happen is when you use the transpose tool, all of the data columns are selected by default. Mm-hmm. Then whatever you tick off in the key columns will untick in the data columns.
Yeah, I saw this before, yeah. Now, yep. Is the dynamic and or unknown column, shall I keep it or shall I remove it?
Depends on your data. So if your incoming data stream may be changing, by leaving it ticked off, you're allowing the tool to pick up new columns. If you uncheck it, we're saying this is the data set I'm sticking with. Don't add anything else. But do make sure that you untick P1 start from the top box. Otherwise, we're going to get some wonky results.
Yeah, because let me see what I did. Yes, because I forgot to. Okay, it doesn't take it off automatically for you. Then is it the other one, the cross tab? One of them, like when you choose the first one checked, it automatically removes the other one. Anyway.
This one does, but if you add something in one place, so if I then add it, it doesn't always automatically. Okay. It won't necessarily untick if it's ticked off. It's a little bit weird, its behavior sometimes. Okay, perfect. Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is pivot the table in order to output one column with P1 and P2 and the other column with this. Yeah, okay. All right.
Questions on that?
Mm-hmm. This is good. And it always gives you these column titles, name and value automatically?
Automatically, yes.
I think it's the same column that I saw with the Power BI query, Power Query. It was using attribute and value, I think.
Yeah, same thing.
All right. Second question. Sum the total sales of each month. Okay, so we're going to sum the total sales of each month. Let's look at our data first. My data has product category, average monthly sales. And I have the sales from January to December. And then I'm not interested in any column, but I'm just interested in product and their individual sales for each month, right? Or
Let's think through the question, right? So it's saying what the, pardon me, the total sales of each month, right?
Mhm.
Now we may want to summarize things a little bit further down, right? So you might want product, you might want category, you might want age range and everything. What we ultimately want out of the tool is we want a column that has all the months listed, January through December, and another column that gives the total for that the value for that month in that tool, right?
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
So I'm thinking that if I have to start using with transpose tool, I will not change product category or suggested age range or average, but
Right?
I'm going to transpose the months, right?
Yep.
Okay, so key columns are product category, suggested age range, and average monthly sales. For the data columns, I only see the months now, right?
Yep.
If you run this, let's see what we got. So graphing calculators, they're under general category, average monthly sale, and yeah, we have the cost for each month. We have the sales for each month. But we want
Yes.
to calculate their total sales for each month, right?
Correct.
So I feel like I'm gonna use the summarize tool right now.
I would do that as well.
Okay, I'm gonna bring a summarize tool because for summarize tool, I want to group them by product. And then I think all products, they have the same category. I feel like I don't need to group by anything else.
You don't even need to group by product. So we don't want
Mm.
the sales per product for each month. We want the total sales for each month. So I'm going to see January, February, March, April down in row headers, and then the grand total of sales for each of those.
So can you help me? What am I going to choose then on the
Yeah,
tool?
so you can click on, do you see the little minus over to the right? Go ahead and click on that. So we would like, well, the name column, which lists the months,
Oh,
that's what we're going to group by.
because each month, okay, group by month, and then we're
Yep.
going to sum. But oh, so this is going to give me in January, whatever I sold, that will be the sales for that month.
Yep.
Let's run.
And the only thing I would do here is fix the output field name instead of being name, maybe put the word month so it makes a little more sense.
Month, and then sum of sales, or I can call it total sales. But with this one, we don't know what we sold, right? We only know
Right.
how much money we made each month.
Correct.
Does it automatically start with the highest total sales? I think because if I see the
Nope,
most
it doesn't.
output started with March.
So interestingly enough, it typically, and I think this is AMP. So older versions of Alteryx, the summarize tool would alphabetize based on whatever the first group by level was. So we would see April, I believe, is the first month of the year, according to alphabetization, right? That would be listed first.
Yeah.
I am not sure now of the logic, if there is any logic behind the order that we see.
For the first question, sum the total sales of each month. Okay, let me read the question again and review my solution because we only want to see what is the total sale for each month. We use transpose rule tool to change data from wide to long, and then we group them by month, and then we add their total sales. Now the question is, which month had the best performance? For this one, I think I need to get the highest total sales showing up first.
Yep.
I can use sort by total sales, or maybe if I use, I think the sort seems like the easiest to me at this moment.
Yeah, and then we just, read off the top record, right?
But total sales descending. I want to order them by descending. And then, yeah, now I have the highest sales, 1,075,000. And I'm just gonna get the number one, top one. So simple. Or do I get the summarize button and get the maximum?
You could do that, or you could do it exactly what you're doing now with the sort and the sample. They both work really well.
I think, the simpler is merrier for me. And connecting, no, connected. And then top one. Now it shows me that September we had the highest total.
Yep, that's also what I get.
Okay. I mean, examples are created so very well that you really have to think and you really have to use your knowledge.
This is meant to build on a basic Alteryx knowledge. So you need to know how to use the other tools, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Which department has the higher average base salary? It's not the highest, but it is higher. I don't know, English-wise, does it make a difference? Question is, which department has the higher average base
It
salary?
should be highest.
Okay. Has the
Highest
highest
average base salaries.
Okay. So I need the department and base salary, but department shows up multiple times. So I feel like first I need to group by. I'm going to do something. If I'm wrong, you can fix this, but I want to group by the department and then average base salary. I want to take the average salary. Let's see what happens now. Marketing and so we wanted to find out which one has the higher. So if I stick with this method because I didn't use the transpose tool, I feel like
That's okay.
I'm doing something wrong. No?
Nope. So
Okay.
for the first question, we don't really need the transpose
Okay.
tool. You can just figure out the highest average base salary without it.
Okay. Then I will just sort this. Sort this with the average base salary descending. So to answer their first question, I will tell them that sales department has the highest.
That's also what I got. Perfect.
Which employee has the highest salary considering the base pay, benefits, and bonus?
So now we've got to do a little manipulation because our data is not in the correct format to answer that question.
Right. Because if you look at our original data, I have the employee name, base pay, other pay, bonus, right?
Correct.
Okay. You want to help me here a little bit to get started?
Yeah, so we want to make sure that for each employee, we're able to add base pay, other pay, and bonus together.
Do I create a new column and then just add the base pay plus other pay plus bonus?
You could, but I want you to do it with the transpose tool first.
Yes. Okay,
But
then.
absolutely, that would work too.
Okay, but because I want to learn how to use transpose tool, I'm going to try to do it with transpose tool. So ID, admission date, department, and employee name, if I choose them as key columns, and then the other three is the data columns. Let's see what happens. Okay, ID, admission. So now each employee has 3 lines.
Mhm.
And I want to just group by employee name and add their value. Let me bring the summarize button here to here. Okay. And then I want to group by each employee. And then I want to value sum. And then instead of calling this value, I want to call this as final salary, maybe. Okay, let's run. What happens now? Okay. Is this a correct logic?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to see which one has the highest salary. I think now, do you want me to do with the sort tool or?
However you want to do it. So it's not how I want you to do it. It's the way that you're most comfortable solving.
Okay. So when we consider all 3 different pay categories, I feel like this employee, Ronald Kelly,
Yep.
he
That
has.
is also what I got.
Okay.
Does the
Wow.
transpose tool make sense?
Transpose tool makes sense. I understand the logic perfectly behind it, but I think I'm not very comfortable yet to use it whenever I need it.
Practice with it. The good thing about Alteryx is you can't break your data.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I really like it, and I'm so happy that I started learning it.
Oh, good. That is excellent. All right, let me try to find my presentation. Oh my goodness, it keeps disappearing. I really have to learn Teams better. This is my challenge.
You are so good, Esther. I really admire
Thank you. I just don't know why my presentation won't stick, but that's whatever it is, it is. There we go. Okay, perfect. Final tool for today is the transpose tool.
I think we already did transpose.
Oh, pardon me. Now it's loading to an old version. Oh my
Oh.
goodness, this is so bizarre. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, cross tab. We're gonna find
Cross tab. Transforming. Okay, we're good. I am now officially caught up. Perfect. Sorry about that. That is just, this is the challenge with my tools not working correctly and me not being able to read my presentation correctly.
Or I think they messed up. Oh no, this is page 14 of the presentation.
Right? Let me just quickly go through to make sure that we are in the right place. Transpose and summarize. Excellent. Okay, we are now in the right place. Crosstab tool. Sorry, it took me a little while to find that. So the crosstab tool does the exact opposite of the transpose tool. It requires a header field and it requires a data field, and they have to be different fields, so they cannot be the same. It also requires some sort of grouping method. And you can have multiple grouping methods as well. And this is where we take our chocolate bar that's facing this way and we turn it sideways. So we have now 4 rows for Nancy with each of their different earnings. And this was probably summarized maybe over a year. Maybe there were monthlies for this with a salary increase as its own field. And now I'd like to see all of Nancy's data across a table. So I'll set up my crosstab tool and I'll have my employee name be the grouping level. So for each individual employee, now I'm going to get one row in my table. Now we have our methodology, the way the crosstab works. So let's take the different earnings categories and use those as our column header. And let's take the values in the total column and add those together with sum. And it's just shifting everything around. It literally pivots the data for us. And for each employee, we could then get this table.
Base salary, benefits, and then so last column, whatever the information in the last column, they became the headers now.
Yep.
And then, okay.
And they are then alphabetized. So the first one will be whatever is first alphabetically.
Okay.
There is a slight inaccuracy in this picture in that when you cross-tab a column into column headers, spaces are replaced with underscores. So that's just something to be aware of. It does this.
Okay.
And we'll see that when we actually use the tool, which is the next step. So we're going to go back to that workflow and you can share again. Let me stop my sharing.
Here, and then my screen. No, I think I hit something wrong. Here. Okay. Now we're on the last part. Do they have the answer key to these in that folder? I didn't check the folder.
No, the answer key is not in there.
Okay, so you can only have them if you go through them.
Right.
All right, close that. So let me see what this data is. We have the product, market trend, region, coffee. Pivot this table in order to output a table with 4 distinct columns: region, market, product, and trend. It's 4 different columns because we have Europe, Asia, Africa, Latin America. I think so. Because its title is crosstab, I wouldn't be able to figure out that I need to use crosstab with this question if the title wasn't a crosstab. Is there a clue that I could know that I need to use crosstab with this question?
Well, the word pivot can help us with that. So if we look at the question, it says pivot the table in order to output a table with 4 distinct columns: region, market, product, and trend. And I see in my data here that region, market, product, and trend are all in this field 1. So I know just from the description that I have to pivot field 1 to be my new column headers.
Okay, it's because you said because region, market, product, trend, all those are the data from field 1.
Yep.
Okay.
So our column headers will be field 1.
Column headers.
Now you can pick, I would pick region as the grouping by, or yeah, I would pick region as the grouping by because that's the column that actually has a name.
Okay.
Or you could choose field 3 as the grouping by, that would be fine, and then region as the values.
Okay, field 3 as the group by. Okay, uncheck this. So we want to group them by field 3, which is coffee, rice, beans, sugar, and then change column headers to field 1, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then values for new columns, and we want to get the values from
the region is fine. Then we'll see where each of these products are sold, right? Or each of these different markets. Where are we targeting these markets, these products, etc. But you need a method. So the bottom part of that box, when we're working with text, we have an option of concatenate first or last.
Okay. What we want to call our data will be grabbed. The values is regions, right? it's gonna show the region. So I need to decide what do I want to do with the region data.
Yep.
Uh,
Typically, when I do this, I start with concatenate and I see what happens.
okay, that's a great idea. Let me do this. And, okay. Here's the table. In order to output the table, see 4 distinct columns. Region is missing. Market is here. Product is here. Trend is here. I think I did something wrong with the configuration.
Nope, that's accurate.
but it doesn't, because they wanted 4 distinct columns. Region is missing.
Okay, so then go back and put the region as the value to group by,
Okay.
and field 1 as the value for, or field 3 as the value for the new columns.
Okay.
Now leave the column headers as field 1.
So field 1, because we're getting the column headers from field 1.
Yep.
We're going to group by region. Values for new columns. Is it going to stay as region?
Let's do that field 3, the product, the whether it's the rice, shrinking, developing, etc. So if something doesn't work, just try the other.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this looks better. I have the region, market, product, trend. Asia, nature, rice, growing. Well, what does this mean? The original data, product, Europe, coffee. Market, Europe, nature. Trend, Europe, growing. For Europe, oh, okay, I understand. For Europe, the market is mature, product is coffee, and trend is growing. That's what we
Yep,
want. Oh,
that's what we wanted.
okay. And let me see how I set this up again. I want to group them by region. Makes sense because I want them to see what's happening per region. Column headers will be taken from field 1 because field 1 was where I had the product market. Okay. I'm sorry if I'm slow.
No, that's okay.
And then values for new columns, and we're getting them from field 3, and we're going to concatenate them. What happens if I just choose first instead of concatenate? Run. I don't understand the difference. I think for text, because first we put concatenate here, right?
Right.
We made it concatenate. When I run the workflow, we saw that Asia.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, if there were multiple records for market for Asia, then we would see mature, comma, development. But since there was only one record that matched for market in Asia, that's why we only see one value in there.
Okay. I think this tool is the hardest among these 3, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
It is the hardest to conceptualize.
Okay. So second question, pivot the table to output the pollutants and level of contamination per year. So this is a very chemical question.
Yes.
Pollutant, year, and level. So we want to output the pollutant. Okay, so I think we want to group by pollutant.
Right.
And level of contamination per year. This looks to me like already it is a table which shows the pollutants and the level of contamination per year.
Right. But I like the years going across. So it's a little friendlier to read.
Also like 2022, 2001, 24.
Yep.
Okay, so let's start. Cross tab. I want to keep the pollutant as the group data. And then we want to change column headers to years. And then this one, level. And some average. I don't know if this is gonna work, but let me see what happens. Pollutants Q3. I think. What do you think? Did I do something wrong?
So
Mm.
well, let's see, what does it say? Level of contamination per year is probably a sum. Let's see if that makes a difference. You can even put both in and see the results side by side of sum and of average.
But the grouping and the column headers are, did I pick them correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
Yep.
run. And then let's check. Yes, we have three different bulletins. And
Right. So sum and average are the same value.
yeah, it doesn't matter which one we pick. But I think that's what they wanted, right, for this question.
Yep.
Okay. We have three different ones. And we change the long data to a white data.
Yep.
Create a table with 4 columns with the sum of the sales for each product. Let me see. I have the date, product, and amount. 4 columns with the sum of the sales for each product. For date, product, amount. Okay. What's your opinion on the last one? Did I do it right?
So I would say that's just a wording. When I read the 4 columns with the sum of the sales for each product, I see the for each product. I would list the products down as headers. This works as a summary of each product sales for each date.
Mm-hmm. So how did you configure yours?
So the way I configured mine was just slightly reversed of yours. So I put the, oh, wait a minute. Did I do it that way? Hold on. Some of the sales, nope, never mind. It would be too wide if I did the other way. So this is good. This is good. So by date, how much each product sold, right? So now we need a table with the sum of the sales for each of the product. So how do I now sum up the sales for beans, sum up the sales for coffee, sum up the sales for rice, sum up the sales for sugar? As 4 separate columns. This is actually the way I did it. I'm misreading the question.
Regardless of the date?
Regardless of the date. Grand total for each of these 4 columns.
Okay. Is it the summarize too? Because I need to bring. I want to find the beans and some coffee. Some. I cannot continue. Let me see if this is correct. Am I on the right path?
Yeah, just add in rice and sugar. You're in a perfect place.
Thank you.
Of course, now my Alteryx is frozen naturally because I'm trying to do something in it. Goodness.
Okay. So create a table with 4 columns with the sum of the sales for each product. Now,
That's it. That's it. That's a table with the sum of the sales for each product.
so there was no way to find the sum of each product with the original data without using crosstabs because.
So you could, but let me show you a different method.
Okay.
So if you start with a summarize, right? You could sum by product, you could add the amounts.
Let me see. Let me try. Bring it summarize. And then you said group by product, right?
Yeah.
And then I want to add the sum for each product and then run this. Let's see what happens.
Right. The challenge with this is with just the 2 columns like this, we can't get this rice, sugar, coffee, beans into 4 columns like the question is asking. So what I would have to do is kind of fake it, add an, it's an awful way to do it. I would add a number, just a record header, and then cross tab off that, put the record header as it's so convoluted to make this actually work that you're better off doing it the top way.
Yeah. But now for the cross tab, when I have the record ID, I want to keep the record ID as the group. I want to get my column headers from my product, and I want to sum amount, and then let's check. Let's see what happens.
Right. So now we're going to get a table with a lot of like blank stuff in it.
Oh, yes. And yeah, it still tells me that beans are 1580.
Yeah, the amounts should be correct.
But the output doesn't look nice.
Right.
Okay, great. Let me save this as my solution on my folder. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah. So the crosstab tool is the one that I think takes the most playing around with to get comfortable. That is definitely the transform tool that I would say I was the most challenged on learning. Because it isn't quite a pivot table, right? It's different than a pivot table. So we get through it. All right. What I'd like you to try to do now is open up the Formula One file. So Formula One Learner, and you're going to take some time and take some time on this to work through it without my guidance. This one is the activity without my guidance. If you get stuck on something, try it a few times. If you're really stuck, let me know what you're stuck on.
Okay. In this thing, we have a system of Formula One, and you want to understand simple statistics.
Oh goodness, and my Alteryx is just hopelessly frozen. Now I have to close it and start again. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, I'm looking at how many tasks there are. There are 5 tasks. If tasks don't make sense, please let me know, because there definitely can be some language challenges.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm kind of slow. How much time do I have for this?
Oh goodness, we are scheduled to go, I think, until 4:30 today, so you've got plenty of time.
Okay, awesome.
We're well ahead of schedule.
Awesome.
And there are some hints
I saw them.
if that's helpful to you.
Yeah, I'm stuck with the first question. So, and the level is not that easy, I think, for the case study.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be a challenge.
Okay, I like challenges.
So if you've not converted dates yet, try the date time tool that's in the parse catalog and see if you can figure your way around that tool.
I was thinking about bringing a select tool and just changing the data type. That wouldn't work.
That will not work.
Oh, why? Because
With the slashes there, it's not a data type that Alteryx understands. Alteryx will
oh,
only ever see that as text, so you need to tell it how to convert the date, and the date time tool can help us do that.
I need to start using a formula then first.
Do the date time tool and then do a formula.
Oh, there is a date time tool. I never knew about it.
If you go into the parse category,
Yes. Oh, date time.
yep,
Okay.
and then you can find that birthday field and do the conversion.
Okay. Date of birth. Can I share screen and show you something quickly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I am going to share my screen. All right. Now, see, I brought this tool,
Good.
date and date of birth, and I called it new date of birth, and I chose this
Great.
format, right?
Well, the format that's in this data set, if you look at it, it's day /month /4-digit year. So we want a few up from that. You'll see in the format that matches the incoming string field. If you look, though strangely enough, did that work? No, this did not work.
No, because I didn't pay attention to the incoming string. I thought
Yep.
they are asking for the
It's
output.
how you want it outputted, right?
Yeah.
Which that is the correct Alteryx output format. This is the format of the input because we're converting from string into date.
Okay.
So it's the DD/MM/YYYY. We don't need the time. We don't have time with these. So if you go down a little further in the list.
I don't think that this goes any further down.
Yeah, it does. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Not custom. Go up, you'll see DD/M/M/ that one. Oh, you were just on it.
This one.
It's further down.
This one? Oh, but
Keep going down. Keep going.
oh,
There you go. That's the exact one.
okay. I shouldn't be choosing with the hours involved.
Right, because we don't have hours. So it doesn't need to be date time. It just needs to be date.
Okay, let me see, do the work. Date of birth, and new date of birth. 1985, January 7th. Yes. Oh, if you didn't help me, I couldn't think about this daytime.
That's okay.
Thank you.
So now you can put a formula tool on to figure out how old someone is.
Okay. I was gonna do the minimum and maximum. It doesn't work like that. I need to find
Well,
it.
because we want to actually find out ages for this challenge.
Okay.
So we have to create a new field called age, let's call it.
There's a function called daytime now.
Date time now is today's date.
Yeah. But do I
So
need to Do I need to find
Right.
a column where they compete?
Yes, so we want to compare the date time of the birth to the date time of now. So the formula that we use here is date time diff. It's a little different than in Excel. There we go. Date one is the later date. So that would be the date time today. Date time today. Yes.
Not now, today. Should I pick?
Now is fine.
Okay.
That'll work. And then the second date is that date field that we just created. So that new date of birth. And then
Mm,
the units in
yes.
double quote marks or single quote marks would be years, right? We want it in years.
Mhm.
Perfect. And then make sure that that comes out as a number rather than a string.
Okay, so do I put two number before the whole thing?
Nope, this will come out as a number, but if you see the data type for this new field is currently set to string, so just set it to an integer instead.
Okay, that's nice.
So now you've got the age.
Good for each person. Okay, how old is the youngest driver? I don't know if I need to put it down, but I'm going to get the minimum age. Youngest driver, older driver. Age again, maximum. I don't think that aggregation would work without grouping by, right? Because
Well, you can aggregate without grouping by.
so in order to answer the youngest driver and oldest driver, did I do
Yep,
it correctly? Just
you
putting this.
did.
Okay, thank you.
Then you can figure out the average age as well.
Just like the same way, I am going to go to age and then just
Yep,
choose
and I'm
this.
just checking my answers. I'm clicking back and forth and I have the same thing.
Yes, awesome. Average. It gives me three columns table. So I can just call this as youngest. And then this will be oldest. And this will be the average. Youngest. Youngest, oldest, average. Awesome.
Yep.
Is there a way to just get a whole number for the average? So I want to just truncate the decimal places.
So then I would use that select tool and turn it into an integer. Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right.
But the summarize tool will always turn it into a double.
Okay. Wonderful. And double means a lot of decimal places here, like
Up
6.
to 15. Yep.
Okay. So finally, task 1 is completed.
Excellent.
I'm sorry if I'm too slow.
No, you're not at all.
This is the final task we need to get it done for this course.
This is the final piece of the course. Yep. There's a knowledge check afterwards, so we can take as much time as we need to get through.
Thank you. I'm so glad that I signed up for this course. It just helped me to boost my mood after the
Good.
semester.
Oh, Alteryx is so much more fun than SQL.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, biased, but I think that that's pretty much the truth.
Yes. Plus, I think you guys really did a great job about designing the course. These are skills too, like designing the online course with students' interest and making it hands-on. I think whoever is in this team, they did such a great job. Like that was my feedback for the boot camp yesterday. So they asked us to fill out a survey, and I always give everyone my honest feedback. And I just did. I said, you guys need to redesign these courses as more interactive. So
All right, so on to the second.
Mm-hmm.
And again, try this on your own. And if you get stuck, ask questions. And I'm going to be solving simultaneously because I lost my solution in a crash. So all good.
Then, I am happy to watch you.
No, you have to do it yourself.
Okay. For the task two,
Yes.
uh, I think I did the first part because
Great.
I use the cross tab and now is the podium something like I don't know what podium represents here with the formula. I'm not into the Formula One or racing.
So great question. Podium is the number of times that they placed on the winner's podium.
Oh, so for example, for this Red Bull Racing in 2019, they were 31 times winners.
Yes.
And what about this zero? What does this zero represent?
Let me see your screen. Sorry, I was looking at my screen. Oh, that's just the decimal places involved.
But it's concatenate.
Right. So what I would do before you do that is go ahead and change that podiums field. You'll need to change podiums and points into numbers.
Mm.
I, it's concatenating with a zero because there were values that were zero for that year and that team.
Mm.
So every race is listed here. Or pardon me, every driver, not every driver got on a podium, right? So Mercedes may have 50 drivers and 10 of them got on a podium in that year. They'll be zeros.
Okay, I just don't know the formula concept at all. Okay.
Yeah, that's a little hard to understand if you're not familiar with what these different pieces are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good note for me to explain the values that we're looking at. So
Mm-hmm.
before that crosstab tool, drop a select tool and change the um, podiums to a number. And you'll definitely also want to change points to a number. And I don't remember which other fields we need to change to a number.
Is integer 16 good?
Yeah, it should be big enough. They're
And
not very large numbers.
okay, points and volume. I just change them to integers. And then crosstab created a problem with this.
Right.
Okay. What does the
So now we're
problem?
going to add up the podiums.
So we're going to choose sum.
Correct.
I want the team, column headers from years, podiums, and then run. Okay, now I have the null values.
Right. So, little cool thing that you can do in here.
Mm-hmm.
In the method for aggregating values, if you scroll down towards the bottom of that list, right in the configuration window.
Here.
So over to, yeah, in that whole list that starts with sum and average and so on, go way down to the bottom. And you'll see there's total column and total row. Total column adds literally a new column where it will total each row. Total row adds a new row at the bottom where it totals up each column. So if you add a total column, it will add up for each of these teams, 2019, 2020, 2021.
Okay, is that what we want to?
Yep.
Okay, when I look at it now, okay, I have the 2019, 2020, 2021, and then I have the total column.
That's it. So who is the highest in there? That's the next step.
But what about this? Under the hint, they had replaced null values with zeros to perform the calculation.
Oh, that doesn't matter for this.
Okay.
But you
Okay.
could use a data cleansing tool
Data cleansing.
after the select tool.
After the select tool, and then you can
And then
do.
you would choose, yeah, you can leave them all and replace with blanks or replace with 0. That would be fine.
So I don't choose remove null rows.
Nope, not no rows or no columns. We don't have any,
We
but
just
just replacing empty values with a 0 instead.
so I just choose the default values.
Yep, that would be fine. And that'll get rid of the zeros. The zeros are the nulls, the zeros are irrelevant here.
75, 7,550, 22. Yes, okay. Now, which team has accumulated most? So I think then, because these are by team, I will just sort. Sort by total and descending. And then if I run this, I would find that it's the Mercedes with the highest podiums.
Okay, just be careful to grab just for 2021.
Yeah, I was thinking about, like SQL where year equals to 2021, but I don't know if that's possible without.
It is, you can use a filter.
Oh, that's correct. So you don't need the whole data. And then take the filter button and make sure that year is equal to, okay, year is equal to 2021. Let's run this quickly. Now this changes my 64 records to a 21 record. And when I check the year, it's all 2021. And now I feel like I'm going to bring a summarization tool from the tool of the filter. I want the highest difference between the maximum and minimum points for the teams. I want to group by team. And then I need the minimum points. I need the maximum points. And when I run this,
Yep.
for each team, I have the minimum and maximum points.
Good.
I'm going to bring my formula now to calculate the difference, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to add a new column. I will call this as difference. And I don't know if data types are automatically good for math calculations. Minimum points, difference. There's a problem. It wasn't, oh, minus. See, do I need to bring a select tool to change the data type, or because what was the error? Error is saying that parse error at character being invalid.
Okay, so there's some trouble. Let's look back at the summarize tool.
Okay. Summarize tool is right here.
So your points, you see how it says V string?
Points.
In your data type, you want those to be numbers.
So I need to use a select tool, right? First.
Yep. Use a select tool before the summarize and set that to be numbers. Just drag that select tool out of that box. Otherwise, it may be hard for you to get to your other tools.
Yes, you're right.
That one's dropped in the tool container right now. So if you just drag it downwards, perfect.
Okay, you're right.
There we go.
So
now you should be able to do the math there.
Okay. Here, now the formula button worked, and I was able to calculate the difference. And the question is, which team had the highest difference? So, because they're asking for the highest difference, okay, we will just sort them by difference column, and then descending. And now when I look at this, yeah.
Yep, perfect.
Okay. I didn't even look at the hints for this.
Good.
These are small steps for human beings, but big steps for me.
No worries. That's really good.
Okay, which country has the most drivers? Consider the place of birth field. It's because the place of birth field is the unique. I don't know why they want us to consider the place of birth.
Let me check one thing. You can use the country field. Don't use the place of birth. Use the country field.
For the most drivers? Which country? Yes, it is the country. Which country has the most drivers? Okay, let's bring our input data here.
The place of birth is really for task 5.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm just going to summarize this. Country, group by, and then I want to count doesn't matter what team they belong to, but doesn't matter what team they belong to. Oh, where is the driver information here? We have a column called driver. Is it gonna be count distinct or just count? To count.
Just count.
Okay. Drivers don't repeat. France has this 7 drivers. United Kingdom has 10. Okay. What if I take the summarize one more time here, and I want count to be maximum, and then I want to figure out this 10 belongs to which country. This is such a long way to find out the highest country. And then on the left, I have the next count. On the right, I have the count. And it shows me that United
Yep.
Kingdom.
Perfect.
The hint was you might need a tool to separate the fields, place of birth, city, and country.
Yeah, ignore that. That's actually the hint for the 5th one. The instructions are a little off in this.
Is it about, for example, I was born in Turkey, but I live in US. So even though I live in US, maybe they were considering me as a Turkish driver.
Yeah, basically the last question, if you look down to the bonus question, the bonus question is which drivers have the same nationality as their team. That's where you want to separate the place of birth. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Oh, so which driver have the same nationality as their team? Let's bring the input data one more time.
So the nationality, if you look over, there's the place of birth column, and that's got 2 pieces of information in it. It's got the city or the state, and then it's got the country.
So this is text to column, right?
Yep.
Text to column. And then I want to split place of birth. And yeah, they have a comma. I want to split it to 2 columns. And starting from the comma sign, let's see what happens now. Okay, let's go ahead and check what the column is. Place of birth 1, place of birth 2. So does it allow me to, yeah, output root name. So place of birth country. And then, so this.
Well, then it's going to be place of birth country 1 and place of birth country 2. It's not naming them separately.
Okay. So.
See how it does that?
So
it's fine.
I mean, let me just change this to original default thing, but I'm going to use the I can use select tool now to
Yep,
rename that column.
absolutely.
Let me bring a select here. And then I want to, this one, place of birth country. Okay. Do I need anything else? I also need the country, but I don't need to change it. Let's see. I don't actually need all of these columns. Let me just driver. I want to look at the country for each driver. And I should have done just deselect all and then just select. Okay. When I look at what I have right now, driver, country, oh, United Kingdom and England.
Yeah, don't worry about those. This is some bad data.
Okay. Now I need to create some kind of logical Boolean thing. If they are the same,
Right.
give one. If they're not the same, give zero. But I don't think that I have ever done it with Alteryx.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is remove the spaces from the beginning of that place of birth county. And you do that again with the data cleansing tool. Perfect.
Okay. And then for all of them, or should I just choose place of birth country?
Just place of birth country is fine.
This is our problem column. And we
Yep.
want to remove leading and trailing white space. Done. Come here. Now it's okay, cool. All right. We have the country. We need to also tell them that if country is United Kingdom, it's the same thing as England, right?
Right.
Something like that, because
So
United Kingdom, England.
you're on the right path.
I can just replace England with United Kingdom.
Sure.
I think that's the only country, right? What about for these two people if we are missing the place of birth?
We didn't have their place of birth, so we can't make a guess.
Okay, cool. All right, I think first, go ahead and, do we have I think I'm gonna need a formula to, I'm gonna say on the place of birth column, I want you to replace string, target.
That's the field. So we want to replace in this place of birth country, right?
So give the same column name, place of
Yep.
country. If you see England, change it with, I think I need a quotation mark for this.
You do.
England, I think this space might be a problem, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then I want you to change it.
Just make sure there's a comma before that quote mark.
Okay, yeah. So here, we're missing the comma. And then
Yep, perfect.
I'm gonna, okay. And we want to change this with United Kingdom. Okay, let's run and see if the England has disappeared. Yes. Is it because of how I wrote the formula? We got a leading.
Yep, there's a space. Yeah, so just take out the space before the U in your formula.
Okay, so let's run this one more time. And then here. Okay, they're matching now. Now, which drivers have the same nationality as their team? I want to create a conditional column or something to compare their country and place of birth. Am I gonna do that, or?
So you could create a conditional column and basically say country equals place of birth country. And you can also use that directly in a filter tool where you can set up your filter. Does this column equal this column?
I never did that.
So it depends on the way you think of the problem.
If
So this is a custom filter. because we're comparing a field against a field.
Okay. Then I need to say, so do I start writing if?
Nope, just write country.
Okay. Country.
Yep. Equals place of birth country. And this is your logic. So if this is true, it's going to come out on the T arrow. And if it's false, it's going to come out on the F arrow.
How simple it is. So my brain was thinking about a complicated way to do it. But
Yep.
then now when I just simply use the filter button, I have 49 drivers who have
Right.
the country.
And that's possible because filter can work with formulas. So filter can create that comparison, that Boolean comparison that you were trying to do.
And then this directly gives me the drivers who have the same country and same nation.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
All
You did
right.
it.
Yes, we don't need to use any tools from the transport. There wasn't a lot of cross tab usage here or transport,
Yes.
right? It was like a good Alteryx practice.
With other tools as well.
Yes.
So it's reviewing a lot of the favorites tools, as well as the new, the favorites plus transpose and cross tab, which I've actually put on my favorites tab because I use them so often.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to also try to use them, practice them a lot today.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed today's class. Thank you so much, Esther, so much.
Oh, my pleasure. So we have a little quiz if you'd like to go
Okay.
through that.
I would love to.
Perfect. All right. We go back to my weird not sharing properly presentation, but now it's working, so I'm not going to complain. Great job with that.
Okay. Now let's see.
Okay, so now deep breath. So which action in the summarize tool combines rows based on the values within a column? So it's what you're choosing under that add.
Like concatenate?
I think this is a poorly worded question. So yes, concatenate really any of them. The correct answer, what they were looking for, is group by. I actually disagree with that. Any of the actions, summarize. Whoops, let me go back a page. Any of the actions in the summarize tool are combining rows, right? Based on values in a column. So I'm going to give some feedback on that quiz.
Okay.
So if I've got my original data set, looks like the table on the left under original, what combination of actions will transform it from the left to the right to the new data set?
It's going to be group by column 1 and sum of the column 2.
Perfect. Group by and sum. Group by that first column, sum by the second. Which column must be selected in the change column headers field? So we are cross-tabbing to transform our original data set into the new data set.
Okay, let's take a look. We have the educational fun games in general. So column headers are from the category field. So the very first box, they have the drop-down menu. That's the category. Yeah. And then...
Yep, you got it. Category.
And what about values for new columns? We get the values from 9.7. We get the values from average monthly sales.
Yep.
Actually, yeah.
The values are from average monthly sales, and then we're grouping the data by the suggested age range. That's exactly it. When you're using the transpose tool, or I should just read the question instead of the way my brain reads the question. What happens to columns that are not selected as either key columns or data columns in the transpose tool?
Leaves the same? No. Are they truncated?
Truncated meaning?
Like you just don't see them on your output?
Yeah, they're dropped.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Not included in the output. Exactly what you said. You don't see them in your output. They're still there and you can grab them before the transpose tool.
Okay.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Fatma.
Mm.
Key points from this course today: we can perform similar tasks from Excel with our Summarize tool and also with the Crosstab tool, not really with the transpose. Unpivoting in Excel is awful. Summarize tasks are data type dependent and also capitalization dependent. In the Summarize tool, only columns that you select, same with transpose, will display in the output. It's with all of these tools, actually, that only columns that you apply processes to appear. Look to the icons for transpose and crosstab to show how they pivot data, and the transpose will always come up with name and value columns. What you are doing with dropping that select tool afterwards to fix the names, that is my practice as well, and I highly, highly recommend you continue with that practice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have other questions?
I am good so far in terms of these three tools.
Great. All right. So there are weekly challenges. If you're not familiar with the weekly challenges already, you're shaking your head.
Yeah.
Excellent. There are many related to these transformation tabs. Highly recommend. This is actually how I initially built my expertise in Alteryx,
Mm-hmm.
was participating in the weekly challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to see you in some more of our classes.
Okay. Awesome. Then before we leave each other, you were a little bit concerned about the classes that I signed up. So now you know my level a little bit. Would it be possible that we go through my registration and we drop some of the classes if you think they're too advanced for me? And if we can just practice how to use the classroom, I think that would be cool.
Sure. So unfortunately, we can't practice how to use the classroom because we don't have this class available to us anymore in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
What I can tell you is that when we have, and also just to kind of give you a heads up as to what's going on, Saba is releasing a brand new version of their classroom tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And my team has to test it out and make sure that it works before we start teaching in it.
Okay. So
So temporarily, we're going to be in Teams.
okay, so even I think I have a next week a class. Let me show you what I registered next
Yeah,
week.
so if you show me your registration, we can go through as to like the classes that you took, what they can help you do, if they make sense for you to do these classes, or if other ones would make more sense.
Okay, because if I register to a class, that means that I will be receiving a Teams link to join from now on, right?
Yes, so the same way today's class, when you launched the class and it went into Teams, that'll
Mm-hmm.
happen right through our learning marketplace. So you don't have to worry about like separate invitations.
Because I was really worried about that classroom thing today,
So was
because
I.
I never used it before. So, all right. So let me show you. This is my learning
Right, so that's
marketplace.
now going to show as you completed it. Once we're done, I'll go ahead and I'll close the class so you'll get your certificate and a feedback form and all of that
Okay,
happiness.
awesome. So I don't know. So the instructor names might be changing, right? Even though, for
Yes,
example,
don't worry about instructor names.
so the
So
reason,
macros,
yeah.
if you find you're
Oh,
repeating the
yay,
same
you again.
process over and over again in Alteryx, like, I mean, my first macro was I was processing a lot of Excel files
Mm-hmm.
that I had created. And when I create Excel files, they've got all of these beautiful headers at the top that tell you what the file is about, but they're really useless when it gets into Alteryx. So I created a macro that would just look for the first row of data and cut everything else above it,
Okay.
because I was doing the same kind of filtering, data cleansing every time I did a workflow. That made no sense. So a macro is a collection of tools that you store as one tool.
Okay. The reason I signed up for this class because this boss who left me all by myself in the company, he just creates his reports using a macro called staff and student information. And then he literally uses this macro on every single workflow. And it's one
Wow.
of the things that gives me such a hard time when I want to update his report with the new data. And I was never exposed to macros in Alteryx before. Like I just saw his macro, what it looks like, but he never explained me the logic behind it. So I thought, since this is the introduction, if I listen to this class, I can apply it to my work.
I think that's correct.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm going to be the only person here, but I shouldn't be expecting a cancellation, right?
Right. I think I have 2 people registered for this class, so it's happening. And
Awesome.
I'm leading that class. Regardless of what it says currently, I am going to teach that class. I'm actually very excited to teach that class.
I am very happy that you're teaching us actually. So when I go to the main page right now, then that means, oops, I don't know if I click
Yeah,
on
so
this one.
definitely stay in that one.
Okay. So that's what's happening next week. I think March
Right.
29th. It is a Wednesday. Okay. And it's in the afternoon, I believe, again. But okay. So the reason I put this reporting in Alteryx, so currently we do our reports on Power BI, but again, I cannot do it yet, but I'm just trying to maintain his reports. I was gonna just explore if reporting on Alteryx will be easier for us.
Yep.
I became the contact person for Alteryx in our company. So after he left, and he's just working as a contractor. So I just want to learn how the reporting works here. And then if maybe next year, if I understand how the reporting works here, we might just, cancel Power BI and then go through with Alteryx reporting.
I think that's a good idea for you as
Okay.
well to explore the reporting.
Okay. Now for the core, you were telling me in one of these emails that the designer core is a longer training.
It's a 3-day class.
Uh-huh.
The advanced, I think, is a 6-day class.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the smaller modules, like the intro to macros, like what we did today, the reporting, they're covered in those classes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of, do you want to take the multi-day class, or would you rather have the materials in smaller chunks like we did today?
No, my job is right now, this year they don't expect much from me and they want me to just learn because I cannot take over his job yet. Therefore, I wanted to just use this time frame for learning until they really keep me busy. So
Great.
I think until they start assigning some busy work to do, until my free time disappears, I want to be just in these trainings.
Great. So if you would wind up being the only person in these trainings, then we could obviously skip the transforming data piece of designer core. If you are not the only person in the training, you can retake it effectively, or you could just sit back out of that session. We'll just explain to the trainer, this is what I've already done,
Mm-hmm.
but you
Or I
still
can
get full credit for it,
Yeah,
right?
I can review it. Reviewing is always good when you are learning
Yeah,
something. So that would be perfect to review.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I would stick with this. If you have the time to do all this, you have the space in your schedule,
Mm-hmm.
keep it on. If
Yeah.
something comes up, we can always, hopefully there'll be more classes posted soon of the smaller chunks where we're working on that right now.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we're working on getting our Saba classroom up and running effectively.
Yes. I need to build my foundation knowledge as quick as possible because I just have 1 year left to take over what he is doing right now.
Yes.
So once I have my foundation knowledge, then I need to start studying his workflows, and because we create a report with the major exams, so I should be able to get familiar with our own organization data, and I need to start building my workflows. So I'm going to keep
Yes.
them on my schedule.
But I think you're in the right place. I think you would keep them on your schedule. And then I don't think we need to meet tomorrow. I think we're good.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right, thank you. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask me, or if I can help with anything. And I'm so happy that I have this opportunity this year, because last year I had the license, but there was no one, holding my hand, let's saying that let's learn this, or I did couple weekly challenges, but because I had to learn Power BI, SQL, and Alteryx all together, all by myself, with some secretarial work at the workplace, I wasn't very successful to bring my Alteryx skills to a place. But I feel now right now like I'm getting there. Thank you.
Good, wonderful.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So good to meet you, Fatma.
Thank you for everything you have done today. It was a beautiful, beautiful spending couple of hours. And I appreciate for your beautiful teaching skills and friendly conversation. Thank you.
My pleasure. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.